How are you guys doing today? Today, I want to talk about life insurance. I've had a lot of you guys reach out to me with regards to life insurance, asking me questions if you think it's good, if you think it's not good. How does it work in terms of somebody with poor credit, and if it is even beneficial? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you guys to a person that I know. So I've known him for a little over almost about 2 years, and he is in that industry. He works for Five Rings Financial, which he offers all levels of life insurance. And so I'm going to bring him in right now and ask him to introduce himself to everybody. How's it going, Tony?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm Tony Clark. Been with Five Rings Financial for 5.5 years. Basically, work with middle Americans, teaching them how money works.
All right, so let's jump right into it.
Let me guess, you're trying to clean up your credit on your own and now you're stuck because your dispute letters came back as verified. What do you do next? What you do next is you join my private school community, which will give you the tools that are needed to get to the 700 Club. I do live Q&As to answer specific questions you need to help you with your credit journey, and there are tools in the classroom to help you as well. As an added bonus, if you join this month, I will coach you one-on-one for 60 days. Click the link to get started.
Just to get started, I'm going to ask some questions about obviously life insurance. But the first thing that I want to get out is on TikTok. On TikTok, there's a guy called an IUL exposer. The reason why I want to start here is because with an IUL, that's like if any of you guys are dealing with the internet at all, that's been the craze, becoming your own bank, infinite banking, so forth with regards to that. Now, this guy, what he does is he would get people who actually have life insurance, get them on phone, and they would actually call up the company that they got their IULs from. And basically, there was this one lady, I'll never forget this post that he had put up, where he called in. This lady put about $24,000 into her IUL for that first year. And he was on the phone with the people and he said, okay, so how much does she invest? They said $24,000. And then he said, well, how much is her cash value? How much can she borrow against that money? If you put $24,000 in, there's a certain amount, I think almost 50% or a little bit more that you can borrow against it. And if you borrow that money, the actual cash value or the amount that's in there, as long as you're making your payments back, it doesn't deplete or it doesn't go. But in this case, this lady had invested for a whole year. And then come to find out when they asked how much her cash value was, it was like under $200. And so that threw me off. I was just like, wait, what happened? What's the situation and so forth? And so now that's why I have a professional here. And I wanted to ask Tony, in that case, does that happen? And why do you think that was something that happened?
Well, first of all, an IUL is short for Index Universal Life Policy. Under those circumstances, it all depends on the specific age, the health, contribution level, and their retirement goal. Under a situation for something like that to happen, whoever set that policy up, they're normally set up for minimum death benefits, and the remainder of the cash goes toward a savings account.
Right.
If those policies are not set up like that from the jump, and depending on their age and their health, it could happen. The primary goal, it is a life insurance policy first, then it is a retirement plan second.
Okay.
They're built for the long haul. Once an IUL is first initiated, it normally takes, before those individuals start to pull money out, use it for a term as what they call infinite banking. That money needs to sit anywhere from 5 to 10 years, unless you're just loading that policy up with a lot of cash.
Okay, perfect. So that's the next question that I was going to ask you, because from what I understand, and I'm no expert, and that's why I got you here, it sounds like the IULs make more sense, obviously, like you said, at a long-term situation, where you're waiting 5 years to actually pull money out, or if you're putting a large lump sum. That's what I came to the conclusion. I thought, okay, well, IULs, it must make sense if you're putting a large lump sum. So let me ask you this. Let's say I had $350,000 and I wanted to put it in an IUL and I put it in there. By numbers, of that $350,000, if I wanted to make sure I maximize on my cash value, how would that money be divvied up? And then how long would it be before I can actually borrow money from there?
You may want to look at some other terms, because when you first put it into an IUL, it is the life insurance first. It is a minimum amount of insurance that you have to get. So basically, it would be set up, probably $1 million insurance policy,
Right.
and then the rest of that money would go into what they call a savings account. And then after that, it is like a 1 year period for that money to sit, for it to start accumulating interest. Once the money start accumulating interest, then it gets to the point where you can start borrowing from it.
In my thought process, I thought, so if I put the 350 in there and I wanted to, because you're saying $1 million of life insurance, right? At the bare minimum, that's what I would have to do with an IUL with your company. I couldn't do less than that amount and put more in the savings for the cash, so that if something happened 6 months down the road and I needed to borrow from it, I could borrow from it, or no?
Let me correct myself first. Because it is a life insurance, so there are some stipulations with an IUL. Since it is a life insurance, that personnel has to be approved. Take for instance, when you submit the application, that personnel may get denied. So if they get denied from the insurance company, that's saying that they're at some risk. So if they get denied, we have to do something else besides an IUL, maybe an annuity or something. But if they get denied, we cannot do the IUL.
Okay, so my question then, what would be a reason why you would get denied for an IUL coming with a large lump sum of money?
It could be they have some kind of terminal illness, a life-threatening cancer, Alzheimer's. Even with that sum of money, it could be feasible, since they're up in age, so it may be feasible to go the annuity route versus going with the IUL.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense as I'm thinking about it, because obviously the insurance company, like you said, the life insurance, that's what it's called. That's the main part of it. And if I'm sick, even if I'm coming with 350,000, if I die in 2 months as a business and me being an entrepreneur, I understand what sense does that make to actually qualify somebody, because then everybody would do something like that, right?
But on some instances, it may work. Most everybody is looking to offset the taxes. If they're getting a lump sum of money, such as 350,000, they're trying to avoid paying so much taxes
Right.
on that money.
Right.
If they load it into an insurance policy and then turn around
Borrow.
and borrow it out, so they alleviate paying the taxes on it.
Right.
So with the IUL, you can only put so much money into those policies before it turns that policy into a MEC.
What exactly is that?
A MEC is basically when you're putting so much money into that insurance policy, is you're getting more interest off of the money that you have in there, than the policy is worth. If you got $200,000 life insurance policy and you come to me and say, "Hey Tony, I want to put $300,000 to this policy this particular year." No, you can't do that, because now the cash value
It's
is
high.
worth more than the actual insurance policy.
Okay. See, the IUL is such a hot topic, and I've been seeing it thrown around, and it's so easy when you're looking at something on social media and they say, "Oh, you throw all this money in, and then you can borrow against it," and there's so much more to it. And that's why it's so key. So for those of you going out there looking and thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna just put this money in there and I could get it out," think long term. You have to think long term, because it's life insurance. How does having life insurance impact one's financial stability? And can it indirectly help in improving or maintaining good credit?
Yes. Knowing that you have life insurance, now your family is protected. If something happened to you as the breadwinner of the family, or if you're just a single person, you're secure. You don't have to worry about who's going to take care of the bills after an unexpected event happen. Most life insurances are set up what they call living benefits. That way you can use the policy without having to die to use that policy. Can it improve your credit? Let's use this for example. You went to the bank to get a loan, and for some reason you got denied. The bank said, "Well, hey, you don't have enough credit." Normally in some banks, or when you're going for a car loan, some of them will ask you, "Hey, do you have life insurance?" And normally I guarantee you, if you tell them no, you don't have life insurance, it's normally going to be
Denial.
a strike against you because they're looking at you, hey, as a risk. If Tony passes, where are they going to get their money from? That's what they're looking at. Whenever you go into any financial institution looking for a loan, the main thing they're looking for, how are they going to get their money back?
That's something I never thought about. So with underwriting, obviously, when they're trying to approve you for credit, your credit could be bad. And if you have assets, basically, if you own the home and they see you got a car and they see you making money, but you got a lot of debt overhead, and then you're trying to apply for something else new, then that's where they could be like, you have life insurance? If you do, that can obviously help give you the push to get approved for whatever it is that you're trying to get approved for. So that's a great benefit of having life insurance. Let's go to the second question here. Are there any misconceptions about life insurance that people with credit issues should be aware of, especially when considering it as part of their financial plan?
Some of the main misconceptions out there, if you hear a lot of people tell you, you don't need life insurance. Hey, you work, aren't you covered by life insurance at work? Or the life insurance is so expensive, you can use that money for something else. Well, that's so totally untrue. I'll give you a prime example. If you work at a company and that company may say, hey, you have $100,000 life insurance, particularly with that company. Well, that's only while you're working with that company. And I guarantee you there's other stipulation that has to happen for you to get that $100,000. If you for some reason leave that company, that policy no longer follows you. And I guarantee you cannot pick that policy up at the rate that they're giving it to you for that particular company because they're getting it to you as a group rate.
That makes a lot of sense. One of those things like it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? So as I'm talking to Tony, and I don't have life insurance, and we talked about getting life insurance on a couple of times and so forth, and the IUL thing was like super big, and then as I learned about that, it didn't do it. But when he explains that, hey, something may pop up, and you may think you have all this time. It's probably one of the biggest issues that I have. Always, tomorrow, next week, next month. And for those of you who don't know, you just never know. My mother and father-in-law, they passed away on the same day. And no, we didn't expect that to happen. And then all this stuff transpired. I'm going to tell you guys something. And I knew, this is partly why I do these interviews, because not only do I want you guys to learn, but I'm learning. If someone's looking at getting life insurance, have a plan of what it is that you're trying to do so that when you go and see Tony, which we're going to put his information down below, he can hear what it is that you're stating and then come with the best scenario. But understand as you're doing this stuff that not only are you just not accepting anyone who's saying whatever they're going to say, but you're reading the small print. And if you have any questions with regards to that, ask your agent. And in this case with Tony, he's a trusted person. He's going to tell you what it is, what's happening, and what to expect from that. How will people get in contact with you? And I'm going to put that information down in the description.
The easiest way to get in contact with me is simply by phone call. My number, I'm Tony Clark with Five Rings Financial. My telephone number is 858-722-7481, or simply by email, tcbd169@cox.net. Or if you wanted to get a little bit more in depth, you can contact me through my website. We're in all 50 states and in some parts foreign country.
If any of the people who are looking at this video have a policy already and they wanted you to take a look at it, is there a way that you could do something like that? Look at their policy and tell them, what it is and so forth, or how's that work?
If you're in question about something in your policy, that's what you want to do. We want people who have insurance policy to ask those questions, because if you have an insurance policy and you have a question, so no, I don't charge a fee for them if they can just contact me either way through by phone call or by email, and be willing to answer their question. Like I said, we do not charge a fee for that.
Perfect. So as you guys can see, I'm going to have his information down below. If you don't have a policy, contact them. If it's IUL, if it's a whole life insurance, if it's you don't even know what it is, Just tell them your situation, tell them what it is that you're trying to do and what makes sense. Because a lot of times we think we know, but they're the professionals, right? It's just like somebody coming to me for credit repair and saying, oh, can you fix my credit in general? And then I look at their credit report and I'm like, oh, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. Okay, this got to happen. And a lot of times it's different from what we think. Go to a professional like Tony. I'm going to put his information down below. You have questions about your policy, or if you're looking to get a policy, he's a trusted source. I wouldn't have him on my channel if I didn't believe in what it is that he's doing. Any final remarks that you want to give or say to anybody?
My final remarks to everybody out there: if you do not have life insurance, please look into getting life insurance. If you're unsure, contact me, but just contact an agent and talk to them about life insurance with living benefits. That is a key word: living benefits. Life insurance that you do not have to die for. It is life insurance that you can use if something of emergency happened to you while you living, such as a heart attack, stroke, cancer, Alzheimer's. Final word is, don't be misled out there. If you're healthy and you don't have some kind of critical condition, it is pennies on the dollar. Don't be fooled out there thinking life insurance is overpriced. No, it's not. It is pennies on the dollar.
Hey, thanks for coming, Tony, man. We were supposed to do this for a while, but I'm happy it happened and it was at the right timing. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. His information will be there too with regards to getting life insurance. Go get life insurance. You guys be great.